This is Hangout Conversations with Matt Rappaport and apparently Vic Condotra. Boom, shakalaka, laka, boom. Hey everybody, welcome to Hangout Conversations. I am Rappaport, and that is the work of Rodney Pike. He'll be carrying up shortly tonight, my guest. Very excited to have you join us on this Thursday, June the 7th, our 35th episode, I believe. And we're approaching the year anniversary of Google+. Our show's anniversary is in September, so that'll be exciting. And, yeah, so I am Rappaport versus the I'm Not Rappaport, you know, the play, the movie, Judd Hirsch. Google it. So how's your June going? Excited to announce New York City Herald Part 2 is in the works. We're looking at August to make that happen, exactly 6 months after the first one. And hopefully you guys can make it. If you can't, you can at least be in Hangouts with us. And I hope to make other Hurls Hangouts in real life. Or H.I.R.L. You'll find it. Just put H period. It'll pop right up. And we're looking forward to that. So a lot of people working on that. Got Lori Friedrich and Daniel Enlow and Scott Biasine, and hopefully Chef Lee Allison will find some great restaurants for a good price in New York City for us, and possibly a photo walk in Central Park. We're looking forward to that. So keep your eye out on both my page and their H.I.R.L. page. Last week's episode with guitarist Matty James and Katie Sevigny, surprise singer guest, that is up to check out, as well as our Plus Tainment show. That's me, Jane Ellen, and Matt Mikowski. We have a whole fun time together where we make fun of each other. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's what we were doing, some weird news and other stuff. Not a lot of new stuff going on Google, but I'll tell you this, a lot of awesome people are making the suggested user list on Google+. My friends Cliff Roth, Moritz Tolxdorff, and tonight's guest, as well as Larry Fournier, have just recently been added to it. So that's kind of cool to see Google putting the community pillars, if you will, as Natalie Villalobos said, the community pillars on the Google+ suggested user list, and more people seeing those that are active and seeing those that are kicking butt and enjoying their time here and contributing in a I'd say daily way and interacting. So that is fun to see. If there's someone that you think should be on the SUL, send feedback, post a comment. You know, you never know. Maybe it's you, maybe it's me, maybe it's someone else. So there are a lot of great deserving people, and I think it'll just make everything more interactive. Shout out to everybody that's already tuning in and watching. I see my coffee break friend has an opinion, is watching over there on YouTube. We also have a lot of you checking us out on Google+ itself. Lori and Friedrich Joe Chang, Don Carl, I should say. I don't know you hate Don. And I see Boris is saying, wee, which Rodney told me about, which is kind of fun. And Rodney's our guest tonight. Our guest is coming to us live from Louisiana. He's a humorous illustrator that I've hung out with, but I really got to know through his artwork and through what he does on the Google+ stream, all of his caricatures, celebrities, and Google people. As you can see, this is Vic Condotra, head of Google+ over here. And there's actually someone behind him. Rodney did a little Disney-esque sneak in back there, which is kind of cool, where his arrow is. He's blowing. There you go. He's put in the window. His face is glued. I think it's Mr. Bean. We're gonna ask Rodney about that. And he does political satire, and he does magazines, books, lots of clients. FHM magazine, as I can't say that because I haven't had a subscription to FHM in a while, or Maxim, but I should catch up. Tennis magazine, Village Voice, a lot of companies. He's a member of the ISCA, NAPP. He's at RodneyPike.com. He's the talented, newly suggested user list user, fun and interesting Rodney Pike. Welcome to Hangout Conversations, Mr. Pike. He's like, I got an unscreen share. Get his face on.
Unscreen share. Coming up.
Coming right up. Yeah, it's really cool how you got the Vic with the glasses and you got the little trinkets of hair popping down there and his teeth. I wonder if he likes his teeth like that. They're very shiny. There he is, Rodney Pike.
I don't know why it wasn't responding, but here I am. Hoping not too disappointed.
No, they're not disappointed at all. Welcome to Hangout Conversations. Thanks for being on the show. So talk about the Vic. Let's talk about the Vic Condotra picture we just saw. Yeah. What goes into something like that? What, as far as getting the hair right and the specific details?
Well, Vic was kind of a unique one because he's not a grotesque-looking person, you know.
It's easier when they're like disgusting.
He doesn't have an enormous schnoz or you know, he's got strong jaws, a strong jawline. You know, he's got a nice smile, and the glasses, of course, you know, trademark glasses. And he's got a little flare on those ears. Actually, what I do typically is I'll take one photograph that I'm hoping to work from, and find as many others in other poses as I can as reference, to where you can kind of get an idea of three-dimensionally what they look like. And I take the images usually into Liquify. A lot of people think that I use Liquify for all of my work. I don't know. I use it to do what I call Liquify sketches, which is kind of.
Can you explain what liquefying is, that process?
Okay, it's in Photoshop. Liquify is just a part of the software where you can bring in and you got various tools that you can warp, stretch, shrink, swell, do all sorts of things. And literally, you can liquefy it. If you drag your brush across it, it'll literally liquefy the image, make it look like liquid, make it flow like liquid. But it's a good tool for doing quick exaggeration, just kind of studies to see which direction I want to go, you know. And I found out real quick with Vic that it was going to be very subtle, you know. I mainly was going with the jawline and the ears and you know, a bit of a forehead, but I didn't want to stretch things too much because he's a big guy around here, you know. And
so is it tricky when you're trying? Because I know if you haven't seen Rodney Pike's work, check it out at rodneypike.com. But a lot of your caricatures, you know, the faces they are big, they are stretched. How do you, like, sometimes you go up and sometimes you go this way, or
yeah.
Like, how do you decide what's the determining factor with that? Is it just trial and error? Or?
A lot of it is trial and error. Actually, you know, pretty much everything I do is trial and error. Every piece that I do is an experiment. I'm learning from it all. You know, I'm still new at this. But you know, it's kind of hard to say because I don't have any training in Photoshop and in caricatures or in art for that matter. So I don't know the rules to caricatures and exaggeration. And there are some rules that apply. I just kind of do whatever feels right, whatever looks right. And, you know, prominent features, obviously, you exaggerate, and less prominent features you diminish, you know. So
you said you're learning. So how did you, I mean, what was your first, how did you get into art? How did you get, and what was your first, caricatures your first thing, or?
Not, well, as a child, as long as I can remember, I've been an artist. As a child, I wanted to grow up to be like Norman Rockwell and be an illustrator. In fact, I wanted to pattern my life after him completely. I wanted to go to New York to the Art Students League where he went to school. Got his art training. I had plans to do that, and I kept those plans up until I went through high school. I went to the military. Got out of the military. I saved money, but I found out it just wasn't feasible. It wasn't going to happen. And being in Louisiana and being an artist is not a good combination. And
no.
So I laid it down for a long, long time. But to answer that question, the way I got started. My earliest memories are Mad Magazine. You know, we always had a Mad Magazine in the house, and I was one of 5 boys, so the boys' room there was a Mad Magazine in every corner. You know, and I had a brother that sketched, and I thought he was brilliant. You know, I thought his work was great, and I just hoped that one day that I could be as good as him. So I started practicing with. You know, drawing from Mad Magazine, and then
a lot of Alfred E. Newman.
Yeah. And then when I found Norman Rockwell, I discovered Norman Rockwell's work. I just fell in love with it. You know, his storytelling ability and his work. And the fact that he was an illustrator, and I had every Norman Rockwell book ever printed, literally. I had a library of Rockwell books, and I learned a lot by copying some of his work, even the paintings, oil paintings. Some of them very intense and large.
Do you have any of your early work handy or not really?
No, not on. I don't have anything online. I've got some things hanging in some rooms. Let's see. There's well, I don't know. Unless you know Rockwell, you wouldn't know these. There's one that was on Life magazine. It's called On Top of the World. And it's
Didn't he have was he the one that did the farmer and the wife? Was that him?
Oh no.
Oh.
No, that wasn't Rockwell.
All right, my bad.
Man.
No, I've heard of Rockwell for sure. I've seen stuff.
Well, I'll tell you about this in a minute. But
so Rockwell and Mad Magazine are two big inspirations then, right?
Yeah, definitely. Mad Magazine was my introduction to art, to drawing, and I fell in love with art. And Rockwell made me fall in love with illustration and and painting. And I painted. It was from I don't know how old I was. I guess 10 years old or so I started painting. And by junior high school, I was showing and I was selling a little bit of work, but I'm not cut out to be a fine artist, and a lot of people, have different definitions of what fine art is, and back in Rockwell's time, it was not considered art at all, illustration. Well, I believe that Rockwell was a genius, and his work is fine art,
No, you're right. He definitely was a genius, and I think that those are two interesting inspirations. And I think a lot of people still. Mad Magazine was big for a lot of us, and also there's Cracked that came out, and some other different copy magazines. And I read it as a kid, and then they did the TV show. I mean, is it so? I mean, a lot of your work has humor. Humor is a big part of your work. I mean, do you feel like when you're doing it or when you're done with it, you feel like, oh, if this doesn't make me giggle or smile or laugh, then I'm not doing it right, or that's not applicable for everything that you do?
Not really, because typically when I sit down, I kind of do things backwards from what most artists do. If I try to plan something out, if I come up with a concept and a plan and see a picture in my mind and try to do it, I screw it up inevitably, But so I go into my work with no idea of what I'm gonna do. With Vic, I just took a picture of Vic, a face. It was good detail, and I started working with it, and I do whatever feels right and whatever comes to me, and it just develops into whatever it develops into. I've got some very complex situational photo manipulations, including characters that took up to a week of intense work, and some of them hundreds of references. But I had no idea what I was doing when I first started. I started with a head, with a face, and just let it lead me, And I know it sounds strange, but it works for me. Did
you ever do them by hand at all? Just try it that way, yeah?
Yeah, I started, like I said, as a kid doing characters with Mad, and I used to draw caricatures on the beach for $3 a piece back in the 70s.
And that was in Louisiana?
Yeah. And made a fortune off of that, obviously.
Of course you did. So what did you? So besides art, what was some of the other careers or stuff that you did get into? Is there anything that you became an expert on, or that you enjoyed?
I tried for 2 years to make it as an artist after high school, and it wasn't happening, and I had to do something. So I joined the military because the economy was just horrible. There were no jobs of any kind. This was in 1982. And so I joined the Navy, and I was in 4 years, did my time, and was glad I served, but glad to get out too. And when I got out, I totally by accident stumbled into the car business in the service department, and rapidly moved up into management. And I did real well there, and made big money for about 12 or 13 years. I did that, and
So you managed, you never actually sold the cars yourself, or?
no, I managed the service department. I had technicians and service advisors and warranty clerks and secretaries and all like that were under me. So it was a cush job, but it never.
Not what you wanted to do.
It never fulfilled me. I was never fulfilled until I found what was my true initially was my lifelong passion, and that was to be an illustrator. And when that started happening is when I started feeling, for the first time in my life, some fulfillment in the work I did.
So what would you say? How long would you say you've been doing full time after the? Did you start kind of after the car management was over, or you were doing it? Did you pick it up while you had that job?
No, not a lot of people know this. I have posted it on Google Plus, and I'm in the process of making a video for YouTube right now. But I went through a 20-year span of horrible depression and anxiety, and it just about ruined me. And nothing worked. I started with the VA, and then they just about killed me. So I switched doctors. Nothing ever worked. Nothing they did work. I lived in bed. I had nothing to live for. And in October of 2010, I think it was the 14th, I found by accident, I was surfing the web, and I found a funny image. The image just caught my attention, and I clicked on it and followed the link. And it led me to freakingnews.com, which is a current news Photoshop contest website. And they have very small prize money. I think $5 for first place, $3 for second place. But I did my first photo manipulation on that day and submitted it to a contest, and I think I came close to placing it. It was like a painting. I took a famous painting. I put Obama's face in it. Something difficult, but 20 minutes it took me. And but it was fun. And so the next day I did another one for another contest. I did another one and another one, and then 400 more. I really got into it. I found that photo manipulation, Photoshop was my home. That was where I needed to be. I knew that. At that point, I had no idea that it would be anything other than having fun. And about 2 or 3, I guess about 2 months into being there, I ran into, or kind of discovered, Sebastian Kruger's work, who is a living master. He's a brilliant artist. And he did a lot of caricature work with the Rolling Stones. And that body of work that he did with the Stones will go down in history as a great work of art, a great body of art. Brilliant.
I think it's still draw, yeah.
But I fell
in
love with it, man. It was like, God, I got to try something like this. But I said, but I do photo manipulation. I had got out of the oil painting and all that. So I said, well, why not try it with a photo? So nobody was doing photo manipulated caricatures back then. You've got a lot of people doing them now. But so I did Napoleon Dynamite, my first caricature I ever did. And
God.
Yeah, I had the tater tots and all. Yeah, but yeah, it made a big hit. It was real popular at the time. Now it looks horrible to me, but at the time,
I'm sure it does.
And at the time, it was a liquefied character, nothing but liquefy. Yeah, I just went in there and stretched him, and that was it. My methods have changed drastically since then. Have gotten a lot more complex, but I enjoyed that so much, and about that same time, I found Jason Seiler and Dominic Filbert, Russ Cook, and some of these great caricature artists that we have. Most of them are on Facebook. You can't, for some reason, they won't come over here.
They don't get it yet. They don't get the power of showing your work live versus just
I think they're going to
story behind it.
Day, but it's fine.
When they see this video,
I don't need the competition. So.
Stay away.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great artists already on here. You're like, I mean, you do the caricatures. I know. Is it Tim Jones? Is it you did his picture or?
I did.
He has up there his profile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim
did a lot.
Was the one that I met, or he introduced himself to me and started bugging me to death after the initial caricature that he commissioned me for. He started bugging me about doing hangouts. I said, I don't know, man. Hangouts are not my thing. And he kept pushing me, and I finally joined a hangout one night, and it was good,
It was magical.
Somebody just said, if you want to meet Rodney, come by, and there were like 130 people that came through, and and they were filtered, it wasn't public, so it was some good people, and I had a ball, so I've been hanging out ever since.
I discovered you myself through the stream. Like I had seen your work, I had seen these caricatures pop up in my stream, and I was like, no, this is really interesting. Who is this? Who is this guy? And then I circled you, and that's all. Yeah. So I mean, then I hung out with you, I think a few times, but I don't even know if I did. Did I hang out with you before New York City Hurl? Maybe once or twice or a few times.
In fact, New York City Hurl, all I knew was your name. I knew your name well because it was all over the place. You and what's her name? I'm sorry, I can't remember her name.
Bobby Joe. Yeah.
You can get mad at me too.
Who cares? That's fine. I don't get mad at you. I'll never get mad at you. So no, but look, I
had heard your name. I knew your name well, and then I got there and I was like, okay, well there's Matt Rappaport. Then I recognized your face. I'd seen you before, but I just hadn't put them together. But I don't think we had actually met. I think that's the first time we met was face to face.
I remember, because I probably looked like I had my head cut off, or maybe not. I was like, the HQ.
You were kind of darting around a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Then I got to sit down. You had your beer, and we were talking, and when there were less people there, it was easier, and then when more people were there, it was kind of crazy.
Yeah, you did an outstanding job with that headquarters, man. It was good.
Oh God, yeah. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully we can do something cool coming up. There've been a lot of different hurls.
Amazing experience, man. Something I'll never ever forget.
Yeah, I think in New Orleans or Louisiana hurl, that would be a lot of fun if we could get that going, right?
We could get crazy in New Orleans. They allow it.
That's what I heard. They allow you, on the streets. So how far away do you live from New Orleans? You've been there a lot, I'm sure.
About 45 minutes drive. Pretty close.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
So did you have a favorite moment in New York City? Getting back to that, the concert, meeting everybody, and you kind of everyone has their regular hangouts.
Well, my favorite moment was mixed emotions because it was saying goodbye to everybody in the restaurant. Remember the day before?
Yeah.
And I was having to leave a little earlier than I wanted to, and I was having to say goodbye. But I had met so many people that night. It was unreal, and So that was a really fond memory, is that night at the restaurant. You know what really sticks in my mind though? When I got there is my surprise that when I walked up to Frank and Shefali and Bruce and Robert Redl and all those guys,
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised. My surprise is that I wasn't surprised. I knew them. I knew them well. I knew them intimately from these Hangout conversations. And that surprised me. I thought that it would be, it'd be kind of
Weird.
awkward or weird maybe. It wasn't, Boris came up, running across the room, gave me a big hug, first time
He probably.
Wee!
He's a little guy. Yeah, he did. Wee! Boris out there, great photographer to circle him. So yeah, I mean, there's just so many. There's all these different connections, and there's these groups of people. So everyone did public for a while, and then they got there comfortable with who they kind of became friends with, and I jumped around here and there. But yeah, I mean, you had the Bruce Gobber and you were with Frank Arufi and Shefali and Robert Redl and Brooke Brown, who was not there, unfortunately. Eileen McAllister.
Elaine.
Yeah, Boris.
Lindsay.
Yeah.
Boris.
Elaine Lindsay. A lot of people. And also Jason Joseph, who's funny. He was not at New York City Hurl, but a week later I met him. We had like a mini Hurl. What?
Who was that, you said?
Jason Joseph.
Oh, Jason Joseph, yeah.
Yeah, only a week later we had met him with Nita Tolxdorff.
We met in New York, but just kind of in passing, but we've become pretty close friends since then. That we've got to know each other well, from Hangouts, and what each other enjoy. One thing about him, he's a passionate artist. He's a photographer, and that's art. A lot of people don't consider that art. It's definitely an art.
I mean, I'm a filmmaker, so I have a lot of people trying to.
Yeah, you're in my art circle. I got to share that art circle real soon. Now I'll have a few more people share.
And this might not. I mean, I think even Hangouts on Air can be considered an art in a sense. Depends on what you do with it. I mean, I try to make it creative. I have a lot of ideas to do more creative stuff with it. There's the video art form.
Sure. Yeah, videography is art. I mean, cinematography and
all of it.
The show together. There's an art to it, definitely. Being a broadcaster, I think, is an art form. Doing what you do, I think there's an art to it. And McDermott and his show, and he sounds like
a lot of people.
Yeah, he's got that voice,
Yes, he does. I'm Peter McDermott, and this is news to me.
All right.
Matthew Rappaport is here, and so on. So
I got to tell him I'm going to do his show soon too. They asked me a while back, and I didn't do it. Sorry.
No problem. So let's do. We have a surprise guest that might be here very shortly. But before we do that, I do a G4 rapid fire, this or that, no wrong answers. It's like Coke or Pepsi. So do you prefer doing celebrity artwork or caricatures, or like people caricatures like on Plus? Do you have a preference? So that's better.
I prefer celebrities, and I'm not sure if I prefer it more because it gets me more notoriety, or if I really just enjoy them more. I guess I do enjoy them more because these movie characters and all that have this personality that hopefully through a caricature that other people can relate to. You can bring out that personality in a stronger way than even the original photograph may have portrayed. That's my ultimate goal anyhow, is to with the exaggeration, still maintain some semblance of reality and definitely capture, or try my best to capture, that personality. What makes them them.
And I think you do a really good job of that. This is just a fun one because of the hurl. Beer or pizza?
Beer or pizza?
Yeah. He's like, do I have to choose between beer or pizza?
Beer and pizza. Of course.
All right, together. That's the answer. That's correct. Film or photography? I guess they're kind of the same thing, but do you have a preference over one? Or?
They mean like film. They mean cinema film.
Yeah, like a movie versus like a piece of like a movie versus a photograph, I guess.
I'm an art lover. I love all forms of art. When I watch movies, I see the cinematography. I see the art and the composition and all. I know when there's a good director or producer, whatever you call them, whoever's in charge of making, setting it up and all. So I think they're equal. I love photography. I know lots of photographers and a lot of professional photographers, brilliant photographers. And I appreciate it all. But then, I'm a lover, like I said, of the arts, and that goes from dance to
theater,
music,
performance, fine arts, yeah. There's so much art. All right, so both is good. And this is because you're in New Orleans, Mardi Gras or Jazz Fest? Have you been to both?
I've only been to Mardi Gras. I haven't been to the Jazz Fest, actually. Mardi Gras, that was an experience.
You just went the one time? I think I've been there two.
I've been a couple of times, but I've only been on Bourbon Street on Mardi Gras night at midnight, and I just about got crushed. I managed to make my way out of the crowd. I was up against a brick wall, brick building, and I was getting crushed. I had no wind. I couldn't breathe, and I fought my way for about 45 minutes to an alley and got out of there quick.
Yeah.
And
claustrophobic, yeah.
I've not been back since. But if you do Mardi Gras, it can be real fun. Don't bother trying to get on Bourbon Street. Not during the busy time.
Well, I did it. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think it's like if you prepare yourself mentally, you're like, that it's going to be hard to get to the bathroom. It's going to be hard to move around. People are going to be flashing you, and there'll be beads, and people will try to make out with you, and things like that.
I had real close connections when I went. It was a friend that had an office building with a drive-in parking, and restrooms and stuff. So we had all that covered. But I think I was just in a bad place, probably. It's not all bad like that. It does get a little crazy though. But that's what Mardi Gras is, getting crazy.
That's true. Hey, we have a surprise drop in. Moritz Tolxdorff is here. He created the Hangout Lower Thirds, and he's thinking, Matthew, why aren't you using my app on your show? Why wouldn't you?
Exactly. Why are you not using it?
I have it somewhere. I've used it before, but I kind of wish that, I kind of wish that they would enable settings so you could kind of have it easier to turn on and turn off. I feel like Hangout apps in general are not fully frictionless yet, but that's another issue we can get into.
Well, maybe they're working on it.
Well, I'm sure they're working on it. Everything takes time, I guess. I get. So this is Rodney and Moritz. You guys haven't even. Actually, I don't think Rodney said he has never met you.
No. I said that. I'm sorry, Moritz. I apologize for that because I have met you, and you were talking about Hangouts. In fact, it may have been a time when y'all were doing some work on it.
Yeah, probably.
With some coders. I was with Jason Joseph, and he brought me into this hangout with a bunch of coders, and I think that's where I met you that day.
Yeah, I think I remember that day. I think I saw you before in the hangout.
Yeah.
And so it's okay that you're on an on-air, Moritz, even though you're in the country that you're...
Yes, it's totally okay. It's fine.
Germany will not come down on you. Okay, that's good.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, Rodney does art, and Moritz, you're into the tech. You've created a lot of Hangout apps, and you're both big members of the community. And so, for a long time, the whole ghost town argument has been up there, and everyone's been going back and forth and attacking people to say it's a ghost town and graveyard, or attacking, and then the other people say, hey, wait a second, I wasn't trying to be mean, and this whole thing that's been going on, and it's just usually and what's hot has been a debated topic, and a lot of people debate about what your follower count is, and if it matters, and I know Rob Michael made a funny thing saying, what are you going to do with all these followers? You're collecting all these followers. So now Google has finally put people that I consider both of you community members versus being Ashton Kutcher or someone, or being a Googler, they finally put you today both on the suggested user list, which is for those of you that don't know, it's one of the first things you see as a new user on Google Plus when you sign up, and just like on Twitter, gives you different categories, fun and interesting, and art, and tech, and all these different categories. So both of you, I think, are in the fun and interesting category, even though one of you is more tech and one of you is more art. There is the Moritz is showing us, screen sharing with us. And so there's the fun and interesting, scroll across the top. Now a lot of people will click that shiny button that says follow all because it's a lot easier. There's Cliff Roth. There's also there's Rodney. And look, Hangout Conversations. Hey, we made the suggested user list. And there's yeah, so it's interesting to see how it all works. So now that this has happened, both of you had pretty, I guess, what was considered impressive followings, but now with this, it's like people are adding you, clicking those red buttons with new accounts, and so you're seeing more and more people added a day. Before you might see somewhere between 20 to 100 or 200, and that would be a good day. Now you're seeing in the thousands, maybe somewhere between 2,000 and 5,000, 6,000 a day. So I would think before, let's see, it would take you 2 weeks or 3 weeks to get what you're getting in a day. So what is that experience like? Is it too early to tell? I mean, I'll start with Rodney. You want to talk a little bit about what it's been like for you?
It was a shock to me at first of all when I saw this morning that I noticed first that I had been verified, and then I looked down and I said, cool, I got verified, and then I looked down and my numbers had jumped about 3,000 or 4,000 followers, and I went, what? I know that it's nice to be.
You're like, oh my God, verified? WTF? How could that get me so many followers?
I mean, a bunch of followers. So I set out to figure out what was going on, and then I found, that post. Somebody posted about with a screenshot of Cliff Roth, and there was me sitting beside him. So, yeah, it was a total shock, and it's hard to say, about my reaction because I've yet to. Let me see now.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how it all happens.
I've yet to get the. I'm looking right now just to see. Now, I've still, at this point, I've not gotten any notifications that said 6,000 people.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting, right? So they send you a notification in groups. You'll get the 10, and it'll say view more. But how all that works, and they're always messing with. There's the circle count, so you can see how he'll show you how you went from. Yeah, you were at 8 people. June 4th, 8 people added you. See?
Yeah.
And June 7th, 5,300 people added you. So it's pretty powerful what this list, as far as a chunk of people. Now, those 5,300 people that added you, how many of them know that they added you personally is another question. But it's still support.
None that I personally know of.
Yeah.
None that have told me so.
And so I think that's the interesting thing that comes up. It's like 5,300 people have added you, but those 8 people that added you, they know 8 people or 20 people. They're like, I know I added, or unless it was a shared circle, and then maybe they didn't know I added you either.
Well, so it's definitely much more meaningful when somebody circles you and you if you circle back or start interacting with them and get to know them. I mean, that's what it's all about here. And that's certainly much more meaningful than blindless follows where somebody just clicks follow all and they don't really know who they're following. They're just following who was suggested, Yeah.
All right, Moritz, what about you? You actually got a little heads up. Did he freeze? Wait.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Okay.
Am I frozen for you?
You're unfrozen. Germany has.
Okay.
With my hammer. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I got a short notice head up. That I'm going to be added to the suggested user list, and I think 1 or 2 days later I was added, and I also not, as Rodney said, I notified it, or I realized that I was verified, and then I checked the suggested user list, and I was like, I'm not seeing myself on there, but I saw Rodney and Cliff, so I was sure that there was an update to the list at all. And I was chatting with Cliff about the suggested user list, and then we figured out that you're not able to see yourself on the list, which is a bit confusing. But I think Google just hides yourself from the list.
They don't want you to circle yourself, although
Right.
we already have. I think we already have.
Yeah.
I think we all circled ourselves,
That's
right?
probably the first thing we did. Make sure you got to that first 10 circles, you know.
But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool, but it's I think too early to really see a difference or an impact in, like, you know, if you get spam messages or if you get like more response on your posts or whatnot.
Yeah. And I think that's what's interesting, right? It's interesting to say, like, you know, if you had 50,000 people that have followed you from the beginning, or 20 or 30, and then you have this user list, and your 30, 20, 40, 50 goes up to 100, a million, you know, along the way, how do your posts get more interactive with? Is it making a difference? And I think that's really, you have like 5 million people following you, and your posts still are not being interacted with. You know, there's something strange about that, I guess.
Right.
It depends on what's going on. And I don't know. You know, you have the verification and all that, and I don't know, like, you know, this is Google+. You could post whatever you want. Obviously, people aren't going to post. Some people post porn. You guys aren't necessarily going to post porn, but if you want to post, like, something racy or a curse word or whatever, I mean, you might, I don't know if now that you're on this list, you might be scared to post something that's edgy, or maybe, I don't know if you two have, you know, with your art. I know Paul Rustan, who's a body painter, might be, I don't know. I mean, what do you think about that? Do you feel like that there's any pressure? Rodney? Moritz?
Yeah, well, my way of posting changed a while ago. I mean, you all remember, you know, back in the day, the whole Boober Days story and stuff. So I you know, backed off from all this and stopped being so silly, posting just random funny stuff. I'm posting more like informational, technical stuff. Sometimes some funny stuff every now and then, but not that silly anymore. But this, you know, already changed a while ago, since I got more active and involved in the community and started developing apps and working together with the community managers and stuff. And I think I'm not going to change the way I'm posting at all, even now being on the suggested user list. Difficult word. Damn it.
SUL. Soul. The soul. Your soul. It almost sounds like soul.
Right.
Your soul.
So I think I will, you know, keep posting what I'm posting, and I think I'm fine. I mean, I'm still thinking the way that, you know, if people don't like what I post, they can just uncircle me, right? And even now, when people just blindly circle you via the SUL, they might figure out after a while that probably you post stuff or you get stuff in your stream you don't want to see or you don't like, and then you just start uncircling people after a while.
Yeah.
But the overall progression will, you know, still increase a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the odds are there. The more people you have, the more people are likely to be interested in what you have to offer, you know, so.
Yeah.
But I think the numbers will be not as enormous as what some people might would think, you know.
Right.
Well, it all depends. Like, if they keep you on it or they rotate you, and that was interesting thing too, is that where someone like a Daria Musk and Amanda Blaine were put on it in December, and they've been on it ever since. You know, then someone like Ann Monaco was put on it for about a month, and then she was taken off, and then, like, you know, Tara Naomi was on it and taken off, and different people that were members of the community that have been on it, you know, at different periods of time. We really don't know what the rhyme and reason to any of it is, you know, and like if it's just about boosting some people, so they're like, oh, this person's doing a Hangout show, let's get this person a couple of followers, so now so all this work and stuff, they're getting more attention, or this person has Hangout apps, let's see his Hangout apps get used more, or let's see more people check out your art, right? And I think maybe that might be the idea that they're going for. I don't know. Do you think that there's any truth to that, or do you think it's just, oh, this person's cool, so let's put them on?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, they really pick people for what they've done to the community, or if they're really, you know, in Google's opinion, like, interesting.
Right.
I mean, Rodney and Cliff, they did a lot with their art and their paintings and stuff.
Yeah.
So they did an impressive job within the community. Like, you know, Cliff painted like hundreds of people already in Hangouts, and then Rodney does all the awesome, like, morphing arts with celebrities and also stuff from some people on Google+. And
right. So with that line of thinking, I would think people like Byron Rempel and Paul Rustan and Tim Clary and Aaron Wood, and there's a ton of people that have drawn like this. Byron Rempel with the zombies. I mean, he's done so many zombies.
Right.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I think Google will now add more and more people really directly from the community.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just took a while to develop all these communities, right? At the beginning, they just put on celebrities which are already well known, even outside of Google+. And now I think they keep putting people on the list which got kind of famous or known on Google+ for what they do within the community or for the community.
Yeah, they just had.
I think another thing that's important though is that Google+ is listening to what other people have to say. Because everybody voiced their opinions loudly about the suggested user list, for the past few months here, and they made a change. They listened to them.
Right. I mean, you saw a lot of like shared circles with from other people with like their suggested user list with people they suggest to follow for new users. And now you see some of these users being really on the official user list, and this is also, I think, something that's Google was recognizing that there are more like interesting people from within the community that should be get some more acknowledgement
attention,
or attention on the suggested user list.
Yeah. No, I agree with what you guys are saying, and it'll be interesting to see what happens and how it changes along the way. But you guys, I mean, I think there's a lot. I mean, if I just look at the New York City Herald, just the people at the New York City Herald alone probably could be all of them be on the list. There's just so many great people, and even South by Southwest, and I mean, and you don't have to actually travel in Herald to be suggested. There's a lot of great people that can't, and someone like Byron all the way up in Canada, or there's a lot of different musicians that are, and like who gets recognized, who doesn't is. It's hard to say, and I think we will see more people. But congratulations, I mean, hopefully it'll work out. You guys your experiences might change. You might get inundated with so many emails and notifications, and you might miss stuff that's important. Do you think have you thought about that? Is that something that might change your whole Google Plus experience make it less than it is?
Yeah, it might change probably. I mean, I talked to Amanda a bit about that because she was, one of the first regular users who got on the suggested user list back in the day. And well, I think you might miss some posts when you get a lot of notifications. But actually, when you enable email notifications, you can set up some filters to filter out the important messages you really want to get, and get rid of all the overhead notifications.
There's one thing that I noticed right off the bat that I won't be able to do now that I did up until this point. And up until this morning, I was at like 44,000 circles, and all 44,000 of those I looked at individually when they came in. Every time I was circled, I went, and if it took me 2 or 3 hours to scroll through them all, then I spent the time, and I looked at everybody. I didn't go personally check every single profile out, but I looked to see, if there's anybody that stood out or anything, and we won't be able to do that. It's just not going to have the time in the day to handle that many.
Yeah. Exactly. Like I was saying before, someone like Vic, who must have the most email notifications ever, it would take, if he went through, and Chris Perlows even said, if he went through all the notifications, it would take me forever. Like you look for stuff that maybe mentions or all that, but even like when some of these people put up a post, the amount of comments, like 500, and then all the plus ones and all the shares, and it's really hard to interact with people like that. I mean, at least not everybody. And I think at this stage, it's hard to interact with everybody, but you have a better chance at this point. So
yeah,
so, hey,
really, that's dependent, like Mark said, on the way you have your own circles customized and filtered and all. I think it's probably be a good thing to educate the newcomers about that. Optimizing those circles to where there's whatever stream they decide to look at any given time is going to have the kind of material they're looking for, the people they're looking for.
Right.
So we were look more at your art, Rodney, but I think I want to do the post show. I don't know if Moritz can join us for that. That'd be great. And I'm going to have a lot more people in there, so we can all look at your art together and all talk about it like a bunch of different people. I think that'd be good. But I like to end the show with the wrap up, the G Plus wrap up, and it's pretty much just talking about just a couple of questions about G Plus. So I'll ask you both. What is your favorite part of Google Plus? A lot of people say Hangouts. We'll start with Rodney.
Hangouts are definitely, I enjoy them. I enjoy spending quality time and getting to really know people intimately online. But I, any kind of personal interaction, and that's what makes it special. Whether it's going out and commenting, complimenting somebody on something, or when you receive that, it means something. It
feels good.
Yeah. So I try to do as much as I can. I'm a very busy man, but I try to squeeze as much of that in as I can. But just personal interaction, man. It's amazing how much more interaction there is here on Google Plus than anywhere else. Any social media network on the web. It's incredible. So.
I will say, in regards to what you said, it's funny how a plus mention could make somebody's day, and also when you plus mention people, they can go, "What? Why are you doing this?" So it's like interesting the different dynamics of like people. There are people that get mad about it. There are people that get happy about it, and then there are those people that I've said this before. They pretend like they're mad about it, but they're actually secretly not mad about it. Those people exist, and you know who you are.
There you go.
And what about you, Moritz? What would you say?
Yeah, I totally have to piggyback on Rodney's opinion here. Hangouts are totally my central point on Google Plus because it's such a great way to interact and to connect with people around the world within no time. It's so easy to use, and we are sitting here connected around the world, right? I'm in Germany, you're in the US, and we're hanging out having a conversation. And also, as Rodney said, the whole interaction on Google Plus is such a different experience compared to other social networks. You really have in comments really interesting discussions going on when you did in post or you comment on another post. You can really start great discussions, or even jump from there into a Hangout and continue the discussion live face to face. And this is really great. The whole interactive part about Google Plus.
Yeah.
I would add one other thing too, Matthew.
Sure.
And it's the kind of thing that you're doing. These shows that you're broadcasting for people to watch and putting up on YouTube for those guys that don't know what it's like. You get a taste of it, and see what it's really like, and just being real people, and
hopefully, mostly.
And I think it's gonna grab some attention, and more as time goes on.
Yeah, and it's really great to show people that we're not scary. Most of us. There are plenty of people that it's the internet. I mean, you're gonna get scary people here and there, but for the most part, Hangouts. The great thing about a Hangout is if you don't like it, you don't like the people, you don't like the vibe, there's an exit button. There's a lot of people that like to rage quit, we call it, when they just kind of just go zip. Yeah. And I find 80 to 90% of the people that rage quit had a crash and they didn't mean to quit. But but then 80 to 90% of the people in the Hangout think that they were mad. So that's kind of funny, that dynamic. It just goes from hanging out and experience. So. And
you also have the new ignore functionality, right?
You do. I don't know. So that's interesting. The blocking and then the ignore, or the temp. I should say the temp block. You want to call it.
Right.
I mean, if somebody's bothering you, you're like, I don't want to totally excommunicate this person from my Google Plus life. I can ignore. I can get rid of them ignore them. I can't see or hear them in this Hangout, and then it goes away. But there was an argument about that because people in the beginning were like, well, why do I only want to tempt them? Chances are I don't want to have anything to do with them at all. And then those people came around. So, but I haven't used the ignore yet. I've used the block. But have you used the ignore, Moritz? Have you?
Not yet. I mean, I just recently got back to Hangouts because I was busy with real life stuff. And I haven't been in a Hangout yet where someone was really bothering me, so I felt needing, ignoring him or temporarily blocking him. I blocked a lot of people a while ago when we only had the blocking feature.
Yeah.
But only then when it really was appropriate to really block the person.
What about you, Rodney? Do you have experience with having to block people, or have you used the ignore feature yet?
I didn't understand what feature he was referring to.
Oh, so now when you click on block somebody, you can do it carefully. Like if you click on the Ghostbuster signal and do not smoke symbol, it shows you that you can ignore the person, and then if you don't, you really want to block them, there's a little check mark, I think, right?
Okay.
So,
right.
Well, that's a good feature. I wasn't aware of it.
It's new, yeah. They don't. Sometimes I don't know if they made a public post about that. Did they, Moritz?
Not about the ignore feature, I guess.
Maybe because they don't really want you to.
I've been tied up the last couple of days. Kind of been out totally for the last 2 days.
It's only like a week old, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Tops.
Yeah.
But that's good that they gave you some versatility there. Because blocking somebody's pretty harsh.
Exactly.
I've got a circle where I won't say the name of it, but it's a holding tank for people that messed up, and I'm waiting for strike 3.
So it's like your strike 2 circle. Sweet.
What's that?
Douchebag circle. What?
Oh.
Actually,
I will tell you.
Tell us the name. No, sorry, you don't have to tell.
It's called ignorance and arrogance.
Nice. I know who you can add to that circle. Beep. I can't say it on air. That's funny. Do you have a lot of people in that circle? Like, is there a number? You don't want to tell what the number is. Is it greater or less than 10? Can you tell us that? All right, it doesn't really matter.
Me?
Yeah.
That I have blocked?
Or don't you have in the ignorance and arrogance circle?
I don't know if everybody's experiencing this, but your audio is cutting out on me.
My audio is cutting out?
Yeah.
Cutting out
sometimes you're cutting out.
Strange. How about now?
I didn't catch all of what you were asking me.
Oh, I said how many people are in your arrogance and ignorance? Is it greater than 10?
No. There's only one there.
That's pretty funny. Oh, man, I won't ask you who that is. What do you think of Hangouts? What's the first thing that comes to mind? And is my audio, let me know if my audio is really bad. I don't know how I would fix it, but...
What's the first thing that comes to mind?
Yeah. Is there a word or...
Where's my ball cap? Because my hair is usually sticking straight up.
In the morning. I have that issue. What about you, Moritz? What's the first thing that you think of when you think of Hangouts? I said, what's the first thing you think of when you think of Hangouts?
Of Hangouts?
Yeah, what's the first word or thought that comes to your mind? Or is there something that comes... Fun?
Fun.
Do you find that you enjoy people more on Hangouts than you do, say, in the streets of Germany? Or is that a trick question? That's a weird question.
Maybe.
Depends on the day.
Yeah.
What about you, Rodney? Do you find that you're finding more people you're enjoying on Hangouts than maybe on the streets where you live?
Yeah, our streets are not like yours, like where you guys are from, where they actually have people. Our streets are, you got highways, and I live off of a highway, so yeah, definitely much more so Hangouts. Because you got to go somewhere to see people from where I live.
Yeah.
I mean, I see a lot of people downtown here, but it's totally different to Hangouts.
Downtown. I don't know how you're downtown Baton Rouge is a bunch of snobby people, and they don't have anything to do with you. And don't. I mean, if just take tapping them on the shoulder and saying something, they'd be shocked.
Yeah.
You actually did that, you know.
Well, I think that, and we in New York, it's a toss-up. I mean, there's a lot of cool people to meet here, but because there are people here from all over the world. But I think that it is true that somebody that talks to you in a hangout versus on the street, like if I got a bunch of people from New York in here and we all talk to each other, we were just like sitting in a cafe, the chances of us all, or bar even, chances of us all talking and interacting on that level or more than just like, oh, hey, or what do you, oh, that, you know, that's a nice hat, or, I mean, it's very small. It's not, doesn't get anywhere. I mean, it's hard to meet people, and a lot of people are kind of cut off, and they have their own life, their own friends, their own world, and to just welcome someone into it that they don't have either a friend recommending them or they're at work together, like where they're kind of forced into spending time together versus that wanting to do it on their own. And I think that Hangouts enable that. So
it's a real comfortable and safe way to get to know people. You know, people that are you know, are hesitant, like I was. You know, for so many months I didn't do it. You know, and once I did, I was like, wow, this is cool. I need to do this every night. You know, so I typically do every evening do a little bit of hanging out.
yeah, and we hang out way too many hours overall. I know that now that a year has come, and almost a year, and I know that all of us, when we first started hanging out, a lot of us, at least me and Moritz, maybe you too, Rodney, we would have 15, 16, 17, crazy amount of hours of hanging out in a row, and we couldn't feel our butt at the end. And like from like 7:30 p.m. to like 6 a.m., 8 a.m. Yeah?
They ought to give you something for those hours, Matthew. You know, like flying miles.
Right? You think? Well, they've given me something. They've given me the ability to feel some pain in my body. What? That's a plus. But yeah, it's interesting to see it's interesting to see now that the old school hangouters and people that have been doing it a while, that have been on Google Plus, versus those that are newer. And then there are people that are in-betweeners. Like, they showed up kind of at the beginning, they kind of didn't really do anything, and then months later they jumped back and they started hanging out, and they're like, oh, hey, what's going on? I was like, oh, you just started hanging? No, well, I kind of had an account, and I was using it, like, in month 1, and now I'm here in month 8, and you're like, oh, okay. But it's interesting, too, because, like, there was one guy that I met who was like, oh, you should publicly hang out more, Matthew. I was like, I've done that. I mean, I do sometimes, but it's like, imagine if, I mean, that might be a test case to show our hangout history. Like, if somebody could look at our hangout history, at least that was open to the public or limited, and they could see all the hours, and they could see, and then it's just, I don't know. Do you think that people would be against that? Would you guys be against that? Something like that to show your history of hangouts and who you hung out with?
That would be kind of cool.
I wouldn't have a problem with it. I mean, I don't know. Some people have very private hangouts, you know.
I can understand.
In occasions that I've had private hangouts where I need to discuss something with somebody, an individual, you know, and have a private hangout.
Yeah, I could see like one-on-one hangouts maybe not being shown, because if you're hanging out with one person for many months, then people are like, oh my God, you hung out with so-and-so alone for like months. People are like, oh, you guys must be together or something's going on. So,
I think it would be cool to have like an anonymous like statistic of how many hours in total you were hanging out. I mean, not like, you know, with who you were hanging out, but just, you know, the amount of hours you spent in hangouts.
Like all of it.
It would be pretty amazing.
And to show you like a ripple, to show you when you usually hang out the most, what day, what time.
Yeah,
you're like,
I think you will be shocked, like, wow, I wasted so much time of my life in a hangout.
Well, if you know about it, if you prepare yourself beforehand, because when I had She and David on, I hope they were joking, but they did say when I asked, can you tell us the one person who had the most hours, they looked at me, and I hope they were joking, but if it is me, I mean, I'm like, there was the longest hangout, and I don't know. I know that every week I guarantee a certain amount of hours on air. I hang out with people, but not as much as I'd like, just because there's so much to do. I mean, I feel like I was underprepared promoting this show, you know.
You know, I've got my Cintiq right here, and I work during hangouts. You know, I can talk and work at the same time. It's great.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. I do that too. And Moritz probably does. Moritz, I don't understand. Moritz actually does physically get up from his home and go to a job during the week, right?
Yes, I do.
And a lot of people are shocked. I mean, obviously you might sleep more now, but do you have issues staying awake sometimes at work, or?
Sometimes, usually on Mondays.
Mondays. That's
Yeah,
pretty
because I'm staying way up too long on Sundays in a hangout. But yeah, it's working. Catherine was asking me the same question. Was like, how can you live with so less sleep? I said, well,
right.
I'm kind of fine for a while with only like 5 to 6 hours. But at some point, I'd need a really good long sleep to get back to normal.
Right. And I think we all need to sleep, but I think, and this isn't, I don't know if this, it sounds sexist in my head, it's not meant to be, but I think that, girls want to look, we all want to look our best, but, it's harder to cover up, lines and things, when it comes to women and their beauty sleep, right? I'm not trying to be, maybe that sounds wrong, but anyway, moving on.
I see. I'm away from that stuff.
Right past, yeah. Oh, I love you all. People that you love on Google Plus that maybe don't get the attention they deserve. Maybe we were talking about this earlier. Someone like an artist or someone that has only a few followers that the community doesn't know. Maybe a new artist, a new musician, a new person doing tech stuff. There's like someone that comes to mind, or a few people that aren't like big in the community yet. Rodney, is there anyone another caricature artist? Oh, or another artist? Because I know you're like, oh, I don't want competition. You're like, you're putting me on the spot, Moritz. Let Moritz go.
Yeah, well, I think I would suggest like Dolly Young from Scotland. She's really, really a helpful user on Google Plus. She does a lot of like video tutorials on explanations for Chrome extensions, for Hangout applications, for Google Plus, and how things work, to make it easier for new users to find their way on Google Plus and what's useful and how things work and stuff. So this is really, she does really a good job with her videos.
Yeah, I agree. Dolly is a great girl, and she's really interested and really into what she does. Does Dolly kind of come to your Hangouts, Rodney? She's kind of sometimes mic downs and
sometimes, yeah. The first person that came to mind when you said that was a really new Google Pluser and artist. She's a brilliant artist. May Fong Robinson. But I noticed when I looked at the suggested user list that she's on there.
Really?
Great.
Wow. And she's brand new, huh?
I think I saw.
How did you discover her then?
Well, we were friends from DeviantArt. And, DeviantArt is not a place where you make friends. But this lady, if anybody that knows May Fong Robinson, she's a sweet, sweet lady. She's a absolutely brilliant digital painter. And I was just amazed by her and her work, and we became friends, and we connected on Facebook, and then she came over to Google Plus, and we connected here. Just recently she came to Google Plus, but she's had a good reception, and people love her work and love her. She's a sweet lady, as well as her husband. Really nice guy.
How does it? Okay, so she's on the user list, so she's probably already. But M-A-E, what is it?
M-A-Y. I think she's on. If she's not on there, I'm sorry.
She's definitely watching right now.
If she's not on there, she should be on there. And the other one would be you, man.
Oh, man.
I know how hard you work. Really, you work. You put a lot of time into what you do, and you put a lot of time into people, man. You made me feel real welcome in the Hangout headquarters. I didn't know you.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to do all that, but you did a whole lot for a whole lot of people, and have on a number of occasions, and I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that just because I'm on your show.
Disclaimer.
You've done some good things, and people really like you. You got a great personality, and I think you deserve to be in there.
Oh, that's nice. That's sweet of you. And you know what? At the end of the day, I think Google probably wants to. I always thought that Google just wants to see what I can do without their help. So that's what it seems like. Maybe I'm wrong, but
you'll be in the millionaire club one day, man.
Millionaire club. Yeah, it's cool. But at the end of the day, it's like there's been a lot, and that's great. And I want to make people feel welcome and enjoy each other. I know that Moritz. I wish you were there, and I know you got to. I miss driving. Listen, driving to Jersey at the New York airport. I would have loved to, but I'm sorry I missed that, but listen, Moritz, even though you weren't at New York City Hurl, you spent a lot of time on that the Hurl video, which is really cool. And did you feel? I mean, maybe you weren't personally there, but you got a sense of like, and then you did your South by Southwest, so you got your own big Hurl too.
Yeah, I mean, Hurls are always a lot of fun, and it's a great experience. And every person I spoke to who had a Hurl yet, they all said the same, that it's like, meeting like lost family members. There is no really, distance between people because they already know each other from Hangouts. So there's usually, hugging and whatnot, from the start, because you already like and know each other from Hangouts. And but to let you know, I'm planning on coming over to New York next year for about 2 weeks. So I will spend 2 weeks in New York, Connecticut, Washington D.C. So
like
all in the spaces. Right. So to meet some people there.
Are you gonna rent a car? Are you gonna take a train, fly? What are you gonna?
I'm not sure yet. I haven't gone into details yet, but it's something I'm planning on, and I'm saving money for it. So
it would be cool, and I'll announce it. I know we're on the show, but it'd be cool if a bunch of us could rent some kind of a big van or truck or something and literally tour the East Coast together. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm mostly there for just having vacation and to explore the city. It's not like priority. My priority is not like hanging out in real life. It's more like having vacation. But everyone who's around, right. But everyone who is around, is invited.
Something tells me, Moritz, something tells me that it's about vacation, but you're going to make it more about.
Yeah, maybe it changed.
Yeah, that'll happen for sure. What about? Okay, so there's cat pictures, dog pictures, animated GIFs. I know you're an artist, and so people make a big stink about these things. Like some people love them, some people hate them. Depends on the day. Do you have any strong opinion either way, Rodney, on these three things: cats, dogs, and animated GIFs?
The animated GIFs and all. Well, I think a lot of them can be silly. Some of them are funny. Some of it gets a little bit old,
Duncan K. Bliffitz is another artist. He does great.
Hilarious, though, and you got to put them up. I put them occasionally. I'll put one up. Not very often, but
not like Mozart. Yeah.
Yeah. If I find something that really strikes me as funny, I'll either share. Typically, I try to share other people's stuff. I don't put much stuff up myself.
Yeah. What about cats and dogs?
Something I put together,
Cat or day, cats and dogs. Does that bother you at all? Do you care? Does it make you like annoyed?
Actually, one of my more popular posts was an extremely old manipulation I did called Animals in. It was for a contest called Animals in Space, and it's a cat like re-entering the atmosphere, and people got a kick out of it. So yeah, I did. You
should reshare that on Saturday.
I did my cat or day thing.
Yeah. Cool. What about?
The only other one I've done is a mouse or rat reading the book 1001 Uses for a Dead Cat.
I think I saw that one, yeah. That one rings a bell. What are you, Moritz?
Well, yeah, animated GIFs in general, they can be fun if they're done the right way. I mean, I sometimes I post animated GIFs as well, but not that often. I mean, it's a cool thing that Google Plus is playing them automatically.
Something that the other guys don't do, yeah.
Right. I mean, sometimes you just want to show a part of a video or whatever, but then it's probably even too much to click on the play button and to watch the video. So you want to have like some sort of animated scenery from a video playing directly in the stream, not like the Michael Mozart pop color neon whatever thingies. So in some cases they can be useful if they used the right way. And about cats and dogs, well, you should know my opinion about cats and cat day.
Say it anyway for the people that don't.
Well, we back in the day we kind of got annoyed of all the cat day and cat pictures and stuff, so we started the whole Boober Day movement, which got now a bit like overtaken with the bacon stuff. I think
Yeah.
now we have like all the bacon flooding our streams. But yeah, I mean,
have all of it.
sometimes I post a cat picture or so on Cat a Day if it's really funny, but I don't really care about Cat a Day or whatnot.
Right. I don't necessarily think that it's like care about it in a sense of like, oh my god. I mean, I missed a cat today. I'm not like I don't beat myself up. Oh my god, I missed the picture.
Yeah, but it's also not the way that I'm muting all the posts or whatever. So
right. And there was Muhammad did make that extension with the filter out cat today.
Right.
And so I don't know how many people use that to filter stuff out or boobs or whatever.
No, I'm not using that.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think it has to do with NSFW, and I think that. I mean, people, that's a big argument, right? So people usually say, oh, I'm at work and I can't have boobs coming across my stream and things like that. And people argue, well, you shouldn't look at your stream at work and this and that. Do you have any feeling? I mean, Moritz, you're actually at an office. Do you use Google Plus at work at the office and stream? And so, are you ever embarrassed by what comes across it? Like, do you think people might see it or?
No, I have a wall behind me, so nobody really can see it.
Yeah, that's good. What else?
I mean, if I figure out that some people post, embarrassing content or whatnot, which is maybe not safe for work, I put them usually in a circle which is like, low volume, so they're not showing up, and I'm fine with that. That totally works.
What do you think? So that's interesting. That brings up thinking of the volume thing. I post a lot, and some people post a lot, and some people post less. What do you guys? Do you have any feelings about people being too quote unquote noisy versus the opposite? I mean, I don't know if I even like the word noisy on the internet. Like to say someone posts a lot and call them noisy, then to say someone doesn't post at all and call them quiet. I mean, everyone has their own styles. What do you guys think about those two things?
Well, there's a few people out there that just pump things in the stream in massive volume. I guess thinking they're going to get more stuff noticed and more likes or more follows or whatever by doing that. And I totally miss everything that's going by me. It's going by so fast with people that do that, But everybody. I mean, my posting is really pretty erratic. It depends on how my day's going. When I have time, I go in, I start. I make posts and I go around. And I share some posts, but I might get busy for 4 or 5 hours, and not be able to post anything. So,
do you feel? Do you ever feel? Well, now you're both on the SUL. Do you feel this need to keep up with a post a day or a couple posts a day, or is it changed or?
That crossed my mind that if there's going to be more people circling me than that maybe they might be expecting a little more, and maybe I should post more, but not only that, all those people are opportunities for me, and I'm looking for exposure with my budding business, and certainly make my stuff available to those new people coming in so they can see it.
What about you, Moritz? You're posting the noisy quiet, the SUL.
Yeah, I think, some people are quite noisy, as you call them. But if they are, use just the volume slider, put them in some sort of circle where I can adjust their amount of posts. But I really think that, I'm not sure why it is, but I really feel that I'm missing out on a lot of posts.
I think you're not alone. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. So I have a bunch of people I really check every day and see what they post. And going to their profile directly without, not searching them in the stream.
Or even in a circle, yeah. I feel like if you go to their profile directly, then how could you? It's all there, you can't miss it. So.
And I think my amount of posting, it really depends on the day. I think in general I have like 10 to 15 posts per day. Around that. On Friday I post a lot more in a short amount of time because I usually have a website which posts some funny stuff on Fridays, and I'm usually checking it while I'm at work, and then I get the funny stuff out of it, which I think it's funny and worth to post on Google Plus. And then I push it out like within an hour, like six
Yeah,
posts.
you get into a zone, and I think Rodney was talking about pumping stuff, but I think it's like there are times where you get a lot of, and with me I have a lot of ideas all the time, so I'll get an idea, I'll start a post here, I'll start a post there, and then I'll try to finish one, and sometimes I've been working on a couple of posts here and there with other stuff going on, and I'll hit share, and I'll hit share, and so they'll all pop up. It's like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, you have like some peaks during the week, but I think my posting in general is quite normal. I wouldn't say that I'm too noisy.
Yeah, I think though that posting a considerable amount of content is showing, in some ways showing appreciation for those people that are following you and like the content that you're providing. Can I ask Moritz a question about that? Y'all were just talking about adjusting the
volume. You could adjust the volume on your stream or circles, yeah.
I first saw that with Elaine Lindsay. She showed me. And I said, well, is this just in Canada or something? Because mine doesn't do that. I don't have that on. Is it something that I have?
No, you have to go. You have to go on a circle.
Yeah, specifically.
Like on the new layout, it's like on top, right next to the home icon. You have like the circle, then you can click on more. So you only display one specific circle as a stream, and then you have on top the volume slider where you can adjust the volume.
But there's no volume. Mine doesn't have that. That's what I'm saying.
No, you have to actually go to you have to actually go to an actual circle view.
Right.
I am. Yeah.
You are?
Yeah, I know how it.
Let me screen share real quick.
For some reason.
So then you have like you have this gray bar on top, right?
Yeah.
I have that, but I have no slider on the right when I click on a circle.
For some reason, your picture's not focusing.
You want me to show you what mine looks like?
No. Oh, okay, there's focus. All right. No. So yeah, you can. But so for instance, I don't have a. Is that an extension? Show all? I don't have that. Wait. Hold on.
No. This is just the circle names I have.
Oh, one of your circle names is show all.
Yeah.
But I thought we could only have two.
You see that?
How do you have three circles? I thought we
No, Rodney, that's the wrong menu. Click on the home. Click on the home icon.
Yeah,
right, and then you have this all, and then friends, family, whatever, on top. Right next. No. Click on home again.
Click on friends or family.
Yeah, there are all your circles. And that's like one of these circles.
Click one of those. Okay.
So it only displays this circle, and then you can adjust the volume.
Great.
There's the volume.
I knew there was a way that I didn't understand.
I think we just taught a lot of people how to use that.
Yeah.
Most people
that's a really valuable tool.
There's only one thing confusing when you have like some people in multiple circles. I think it's a bit confusing. A lot of people were having issues.
The algorithm, or
no, because they said I muted this person, but it's still showing up, and then it was hard to figuring it out, and then we figured out that the person was also in another circle where the volume was still up. So it always uses the volume, the highest volume for a user, from what I've understood so far. So if you have like a user in multiple circles and you want to make sure that posts from a specific user are not showing up, you have to make sure that this.
I do find it. Can I just make a point on that? I do find it interesting that you would have someone in many circles and want to mute their posts. I'm just saying, it's weird. Put them in one circle. What? Anyway.
You talking to me? My circle? You're referring to my circles?
No, not at all. No, we weren't. We're just But what are you saying? What you talking about? What about? So, do you guys still? You talked a little bit about using Facebook, a little bit. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, others. Do you use them? You still use them? Less, more, the same?
That's interesting. You bring that up. I've hit my limit on Facebook as far as friends. I've hit my 5,000 limit. So I'm trying to figure out what to do because I've unfriended like the dead accounts, and I don't know how else to do it. They don't have. Facebook doesn't have any kind of statistics where you can go in and say, well, these people aren't active or whatever, and eliminate them, because there's no doubt out of the 5,000, probably at least 25% of them are totally inactive.
Yeah.
But I don't know who they are. But then again, there's another aspect to Facebook, and that's the fan page I have. I started that there a couple of years ago, and it crawled along and didn't do anything until I joined Google+, and it skyrocketed, it took off, and you can see by looking at that page that there's only about 10% of the likes on that page that are from Facebook, that are friends on Facebook. So it's interesting. Most of it came from here.
Yeah, I did, and in fact, I took.
But that Facebook in general is valuable to me. I've made a lot of friends there. I know a lot of people there. I've made some good, close relationships, and I've got a whole lot of people that like what I do, and I appreciate that. I appreciate every person that circled me.
Yeah. And what about the other ones? Twitter, Pinterest. Pinterest is pretty important to you as an artist, right?
What's that?
Is Pinterest pretty important to you as an artist?
Yeah, Pinterest. Somebody told me, Rodney, you need to get on Pinterest. You do good on Pinterest, and I did, and yeah, it's taken off. It's taken off pretty fast, considering that I don't really work it. I don't do anything with it,
Right. I think the thing too is the idea that you're posting just that picture. It's that celebrity, and people recognize those celebrities. They're like, oh, that's cool. Look at that, and it's easy to hit like and repin and comment on Pinterest, just like it's all in front of you. It's not like one post at a time or a few. It's like a bunch, and it's easy to go through and hit like on stuff. And I think that's part of it,
Had I spread those out, I probably would have got a lot more people following. I uploaded everything I had in one day.
Well, that's cool. You're doing all right. And so you're saying you still use them kind of the same. I mean, you're heavy on Plus, but you're still Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, or LinkedIn, maybe, or no, not really.
Twitter is valuable for me.
Yeah.
Twitter has been valuable for me. I have made some business contacts through Twitter. LinkedIn, I've got a lot of connections through LinkedIn, but I haven't made any business connections. The majority of my business connections, without a doubt, have come from Google+. 90% of my commissions are coming directly through Google+. So, this is the home base for my business.
I would totally agree that I don't know how well LinkedIn works. I hear rumors people get jobs and stuff, but I feel like from what I've seen, from hanging out, people that are active here, the most people with the most opportunities of work and jobs. I know, like Samantha Villanova, who used to hang out all the time, now is a community manager, and I think, or some social media in France. I know that Moritz actually has hurled with Samantha, and so it's amazing, right? Just that Samantha went from someone that would wake up with us and comb her hair and get herself ready and be here and go in, and now, like, I don't even know if she's hung out since she's got her new job and her move.
Yeah, she's super busy at the new job.
Yeah. But so leading into that, what about you with the social media, Moritz? The other sites?
Well, I still have my Facebook account for several reasons, because there are still a lot of websites and products which requires you to have a Facebook account to log in, or a Twitter account.
That might change. Should change.
Right. But we don't know when. So, and still a lot of my friends, real life friends, are on Facebook, and they still, haven't created a Google Plus account yet. I don't know. It's a German thing. They don't. They're not really interested in Google Plus yet. They think it's still in betas or whatnot.
But they're not alone. Let's be honest. Like, they're not.
Right.
And I think that's the argument. Like, I can't fault someone for saying Google Plus is. I wouldn't say dead, but I can't fault someone for saying that Google Plus is not mainstream. And I can't
it's
fault
what you make out of it. It's totally what you make personally out of it,
Yeah, and I can't fault someone that says it's awesome. It depends on what you do with it. But
right.
I mean, it's true that I think that the fair statement to say is that almost everyone's quote-unquote people that they knew beforehand, their real-life friends and their real-life family that they've interacted with on Facebook, have not yet made that move. Majority of them is fair to say.
Right. So I'm using Facebook every now and then, and I added a couple of people from Google Plus on Facebook as well. But sometimes I'm just out of curiosity, I'm doing a bit of testing. Like I post something on Google Plus, and I get like a lot of comments and reshares and plus ones on it. Post the same stuff on Facebook, and nothing happens there. So it's I would say Facebook is more like a ghost town than Google Plus.
Well, yeah, but to counter that a little bit, the interesting thing that I did is that when I was kind of like I have love-hate with all this stuff, and so I decided to make, when Facebook came out with this new interest, I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make an interest of Google Plus people, and then I got all these people to friend each other on Facebook through this Google Plus subscription list on Facebook, and it's all the content of Google Plusers on Facebook, and so now there's a lot more interaction between the Google Plusers stuff on Facebook, which I thought was interesting,
Right.
Yeah,
and to Twitter, I have a Twitter account. I still wonder why people are following me on Twitter, because I'm not really posting stuff there. If it's not like, I did something on Cloud or whatever and it posts on Twitter. So, yeah, I recently got more again into Twitter. Yeah, well, Pinterest, I'm not really got into Pinterest yet. I have an account. I looked around a bit, but I still don't really get the point of Pinterest, except of just searching for pictures.
Yeah.
But for that, I just use Google Search. It's much faster for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get inspired by just browsing through Pinterest. That's true, but I don't have the time to just spend a whole day on Pinterest to get inspired.
Yeah. Talking about Twitter. I said that Twitter has been real good for business, but really in one specific way. It has made my blog grow. I look at my statistics and how much traffic tweets are driving, and I can literally go. I've got one of those little widgets with a globe where it lights up when people hit it real time, and I can make a post and go look at that globe, and it just start lighting up because it automatically. It automatically tweets the post. So people visit. People from Twitter click those links and visit those.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting thing. The connection of you connect your Twitter and your Facebook to everything, and even YouTube. I was doing that, and I realized, oh my God, I connected all my YouTubes, and every single time I do anything on YouTube, it was popping up the same video. Like if I liked and favorited and shared and uploaded, the same video kept posting up. That's why, like someone like Johnny Rockmore put up like a post of Rappaport doing meme on Facebook. I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize, because you don't see. You're used to posting on Facebook one at a time, but when you connect all these other sites to post for you, you don't necessarily see it all, and so it all goes out on the stream, and you're like, oh, I'm doing all this stuff I didn't mean to do. So that when I connect Pinterest to Twitter and Facebook, the Twitter does be kind of like, oh, Matthew liked the YouTube video, or Matthew liked the Pinterest, or and it takes away that personal part of Twitter, and I feel bad about that, so I have to change that, work on that. But Twitter is kind of, I don't know, they welcome it. So a lot of people, it becomes
Twitter's dangerous too, though. There's a lot of pornography running rampant on Twitter, and it's Hackville, man. You better have a good password.
Yeah, the hacking is weird. And so last thing here. So is there something that we haven't talked about that has blown you away on Google Plus? Something that you've seen, whether it's an event or just a moment for yourself, or stuff that's happened that you just kind of just puts it all in perspective, or you just really made a difference for you in how you see Google Plus? That comes to mind, the hurling or hangouts, or
definitely. Well, hurling was phenomenal, man. I encourage anybody that has an opportunity to do a hangout in real life to go for it. Save up the money you got to and go for it. It's well worth it.
Absolutely.
It's just, you can't imagine. I'll never ever forget that experience. But I'm not going to go too long without doing it again. So.
Oh yeah. Something we should do multiple times a year if we can.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But you New Yorkers need to come down south.
I'd love to. I just gotta get the money together. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Moritz, you're like hurling all the way?
Yeah, I totally agree with hurling. And I think Johnny Rockmer and I, we were talking about that while we were in Austin. We were just joking and saying, we should just, charter a big, cruise ship or whatever, get all on there, and having a big party for like 2 weeks, cruising the sea.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'd be great to all. We were joking about that too, just a yacht and just all of us just going everywhere and hurling as long as we can. Look, there's so many things we could do, interesting things we could do together. I know the real world was popular and all that, but if we document it, we make videos, take pictures, it's on air, and at the same time, in a sense, we are promoting Google and Google Plus, and so there is a lot to that, a lot that can be done, a lot of opportunity. I had talked about having buildings in cities that were dedicated to Google Plus users to come and use it and create content, create shows. Just that idea, because they said at Google they say dream big, so I really thought, wouldn't it be great if every Google Plus office had another building specifically for people that are Google Plus users to come and use studios and create shows and maybe make positions and be someone that makes shows and helps other people make shows and have a studio and have engineers and editors and people that work on different shows and then also to have people go out and hurl in cities and have events. Have restaurants and they can use all their products, Gamer and YouTube and Google Plus and anything that hasn't come out yet. There's so many opportunities for them to do something on a bigger scale that would get such attention because people would see people all over the place. Instead of seeing, most people aren't necessarily on the internet or they don't think about Google Plus. They think, oh, what's Google Plus? But can you imagine if you're sitting in a restaurant and all of a sudden a bunch of people come in and they're from Google Plus? We did that at Rebecca Pearl's concert. We had the first musician, Devin Rush. We were like, oh, she's talking about her Facebook. We're like, oh, boo, Google Plus, we could be on a Hangout. And she's like, what's a Hangout? And, she starts talking to us and, that kind of thing. I saw a street musician on the street in New York, and I said, hey, you should really get on a Hangout. And because, he's playing his music, and people are going by him like he doesn't exist, but on a Hangout. And that's what's interesting, right? Street musician might not exist, but then on Google Plus, that same person is going to get all this attention, possibly. So it's all the dynamics and the way we think of things and, what we find interesting. It depends on where we are and what we're doing. There's so many opportunities to do such amazing stuff. So, my mind doesn't shut off. Go ahead, Rod.
I'm sorry. Google Plus is still very young, and no doubt they're still developing a lot of stuff on the ground level, and they're, the rate they're growing is probably fast enough for them right now to keep up with. And I think though that growth.
Right.
And if you kind of postpone a little bit, let it take its time, maybe it's a little bit easier to deal with. So, who knows?
I think they're holding back because it's still, some sort of project, so it's
right.
Still looking like it's been in development.
Right.
But actually, every social network is undergoing a development.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All the time. So.
Well, if you're not, and pretty much goes for any business, if you're not changing with the times,
right,
you're not going to make it. Welcome back.
Hopefully, I didn't mean froze and whatever. I hope that the last thing you were saying about just in case? I don't know if it went off air during that, but
The last thing I was saying was that
this
when,
thing,
I think that when Google Plus reaches the plateau that Facebook did, with the billion users, I think they'll do something that Facebook hasn't. I think they'll continue to develop and maybe do some of those things you're talking about, and to continue to grow. I think they have that kind of foresight,
Yeah.
But I think they're probably growing at a rate that's plenty enough right now for them to handle.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see what happens. I mean, I think part of it too was that they were coming out with so much stuff so fast that it seemed like that was the track they were taking, and for them to continue on that track, spending all this time and money and energy and resources into these things, to really make them to show them what they are, and just the ability that we've had, that we put on our own concert, in New York, put on our own concert. We, Bruce Garber did Heather and Ryan, and then we had Jamie Richard did the Daria part, and just the idea that we can have this role and include Google Plus on air. This is back in February before people even knew on air existed for the most part. There are people that are coming to Google Plus now because of on air. They're like, oh my God, they think, a year in, they're like, this is still brand new. Where we think, yeah, it's still brand new, but to us, it's already a year. And I think thinking long term, thinking what can come is pretty amazing. Even improving all this stuff, so many ideas thrown around at the team, and
who knows what's going on in those Google offices right now? It's so secretive,
They're having Froyo. That's what's going on.
Some cool stuff.
They're having Froyo and they're playing ping pong. That's what they're doing. Yeah. It's sad. They're not working. I'm just kidding. Oh wait, I'm sorry. David Bennett is probably typing away, but everyone else is like ping pong. Froyo. And she is teaching a class, karate or something, karate, and drinking soda. But no, I can't thank you guys enough. It was awesome. I've taken a lot of your time. Hopefully, we can do a quick 20, 30 minutes. If not, I understand. Get more people into the conversation. I like, that's a big thing too, is that on air, a lot of people do on air, and they have 10 people in their hangout, and sometimes they interact with all 10 people, or they have it open, people jump in, they jump out like a concert. I know Daria does that, a lot of people do that. And some people like me, they do the one-on-one, but I think, they do the handful of people and it's just them, and some people include the audience more. And then I've seen people have 10 people in here and then just have one person they want to talk to, and everybody else is kind of like watching, and they're just quiet. And it's my belief that if you're in the hangout, you should be, unless you're staged, you're not on yet, but if you're in there, and you're part of your people can see you should be able to be involved. If there's a song, yeah, you're going to be quiet during that or dancing or whatever, but feel like the point of people being in the hangout is for them to be involved. So I can understand. So I think that. What do you guys have any opinion on that, or have you done more? You've done some on air, or have you been involved?
And I will gladly be around to participate in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in Hangout on Air, you should only invite those people you really want to interact with, or which are valuable for the actual topic you want to talk about. But it depends on the topic. If you do some, concerts like Daria did it, or we did the Hangout marathon for The Cure with Tiffany, which was just some sort of public Hangout on Air where everybody was invited to jump in. Just for the fact streaming this Hangout to the public as well. But if you have some sort of interview situation or discussion, then you really want to pick your guests in the Hangout on Air. And I think you do that as well, that after you interviewed or after your Hangout Conversations, you kind of invite more people for an after show.
Yeah, which is what I plan to do soon.
Right, which will be then open to a wider audience to talk about a bit more and have it a post discussion to the conversation.
Yeah, that too, and also kind of like a hangout. So at the end of this, I was toying with the format. So I was toying with it, thinking, should these people come in and be about the guests? But I think that didn't work as well. I think what works is, let's do a regular hangout. If people have questions, they're going to ask them. If they want to bring up topics, it's going to happen. That's more organic than trying to force people. Because I've had, at the beginning, I would be like, all right, who has a question? We all just kind of quiet. And if I wasn't talking, quiet. So
Right.
it was better to do a hangout and just kind of show people us hanging out together. And then sometimes the guests would go, and sometimes they would stay. A lot of times the guests would leave, and then we'd do still do 3 more hours with no guests. We'd just be hanging out, whatever people want. And then by usually hour 80, I'd be like, I'm sleeping. I gotta.
Yeah, I figured that out as well when I was doing or about to do this, help desk hangouts, like user-generated help desk hangouts, not the official Google ones. I started with using regular hangouts, and it was quite okay. But I was like, I want to do it on air, so people can actually watch and ask also questions in the comments and stuff. But the hangouts on air were less successful than the regular hangouts because people are too shy to join a hangout on air. Because then they're on some sort of public, everybody can watch, and if they might probably ask a stupid question or whatever, everybody will be able to see it, and it will be recorded on YouTube afterwards, and people could make fun of it or whatever. So I think in some situations it's better to keep it with a regular hangout instead of going on air.
And that is interesting. That is interesting. I remember the very first days of Hangouts, and I used to, and I'll do this now if I can, not as much, but I'll just do a Hangout on air, and people come in, and we're just hanging out, and people are watching us. And I really don't, to me, actor, director, writer, I don't care, but a lot of people, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that you've been successful at that, at pulling that off. Whereas now of course I don't know everybody that's doing it, but the ones that I know of, they're like that. They're kind of empty, they're kind of struggling with getting people to come in there. But I think you've been pretty successful. You get a good group of people through
usually. But it has been tougher as more and more people have on air, more and more, now that actually everybody has 100% has it now. So it's harder to get people. I had a regular group of people that would watch for the guests and everything. I had a lot of people that used to watch, and they'd always come in before on air existed when I was live streaming, because no one else was really, besides Cam with the Hangout Party and the Longest Hangout, people weren't really doing shows until on air came around, and they're like, oh, all right, I'm going to do a show. Some were doing it off plus, but I think that was part of it.
How I feel about just giving it out, to just anybody.
Yeah. No, but so I did try that. I tried to make it so before. Now you really with Hangouts on Air, you can only invite circles, extended circles in public won't let you. But when I was live streaming, it was before on air. I could invite public, so I tried doing my friends, and then I tried doing not public but pretty extended circles, and then the problem is people would come in, they would come out, they'd come in and say, oh, what's going on, what's this about, and then they'd drop out, and after I explained to them, we'd be recording all that, so, we'd be live, so there'd be a give and take, and then, there'd be people, like if someone was singing, people would be typing and talking and interrupting, and so there's a lot of that going on, so after a while you start to think, like, okay, I want to invite people that are related and that are going to be, respectful to a point, and some people were and some people weren't. It's same thing like the hurl. It's like everyone is cool, but it's like you think everyone's cool, and then some people are more respectful than others, and some people, because again, you're seeing them sitting in a box, they're focused on you talking. You're not seeing them in the real world. You're not seeing them walking around and see how they interact with people in situations. But then at a hurl, you really get to see from them showing up to them throwing their stuff down to how they handle. It's funny, and I talked to people, I said, you know what, I'm kind of scared. Not scared, maybe it's the wrong word, but I'm not sure. We're going to go out to dinner. Are people going to be shady about it? Or, you think, oh, everyone's going to go to dinner, everyone's going to pay for their bill, everyone's going to pay what they want, but it's a lot of trust because you go out and a lot of these people or you don't know, and a lot of times it worked out, but it's amazing. There are a lot of people out there that are considered respectful in this community, and they weren't necessarily respectful at the hurl, and that blew me away, and it's like you get to really know who people are, and sure, people have different amounts of money and this and that, but for the most part, again, if I was a millionaire, even if I had a job that paid me a lot of money, I'd be happy to spend money on people, and I did spend money on people that I couldn't afford to, and it was what it is. But I think that aspect of etiquette and being respectful, whether it's in a hangout or in real life, is an interesting one that we see, and it's like a psychological experiment or behavior experiment about how people interact with elements and each other, and how people get mad when you interrupt them, and how people don't get mad, and how people joke about it. You know, you can't tell if someone's joking or they're serious. You know, and when they're being both, and if they're being sarcastic, and when people's feelings get hurt. There's so many elements to this Google Plus, you know, that make it interesting and can be exciting and the opposite and dramatic and you know, it's been a wild ride in a year, you know, and we see that you got the Moritz has Be Right Back on. I think that's his eyes, but I remember Eric Rice putting that up. I don't know who did it first. But I can't thank you guys enough. If you have anything else you want to say, Rodney, let's plug RodneyPike.com. And
yeah,
plug your
RodneyPike.com.
stuff.
And all kind of links from there. They're there. Just look at the links page.
Cool. And Moritz, of course, Moritz has the Lower Thirds app, and he'll talk about that more, I'm sure. When you get into that, I'll put it up. And he does the Hangout volume, which is interesting. These are all, you know, it's interesting that the Hangout apps are all things that people kind of want Google to develop, but Google kind of wants Hangout developers, people to develop because they're busy enough. So we'll see how that all changes. You know, like, for instance, Hangout Canopy and my Hangouts are useful, but Google has developed where you can see more and more Hangouts from the Hangout page and things like that. So who knows? Will Google develop these apps? Find out. We'll see. But Rodney Pike, thanks for being my guest. It was a great show. My pleasure. And we'll do Conversations Plus. If you want to invite to Conversations Plus, hang out afterwards with us on air. Let me know. Plus, mention me or talk or any way possible if you're on YouTube. If you watch this on YouTube, great. Awesome. If you watch it live, very cool. Next week, hopefully, I'll have Matt Gibson. He's a guitar player. Eric Rice, Cam Meadows. I'm planning a live show in July with a band of a friend of mine, which should be a lot of fun at their place, I think. And hopefully we'll get to Hurl in New York City in August. And there are Hurls happening all over the world, hurl.h.i.r.l. I know it's confusing. Or there are other Hurl pages. You want to check those out, too. And so thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful night. Hangoutconversations.com and on youtube.com/Hangout Conversations. Moritz, you're back. Do you want to plug any websites, Lower Thirds, or anything? Pictures?
No, not at the moment.
Not at the moment. You'll restrain. Cool. So cool. June, go comment. Go be interactive. Check out. You want to check out the Get Started /follow access user list and see people that might be interesting. There are more people. Again, Moritz Tolxdorff, Rodney Pike. There's also Larry Fournier. I'm saying that wrong. Amanda Blaine, Dari Musk, Taranomi was on it, and Monaco was on it. I still think they're both cool people to circle. You know, again, Heather Fair, Ryan Van Sickle, those are musicians, John Levy, Rebecca Pearl, and also artists. There's a lot of artists I mentioned besides Rodney Pike. There's Tim Clary, and there's Aaron Wood. Well, I'd be careful about circling Aaron Wood, but there's also plenty of people to circle. Help me out here. Christopher Lira and his daughter Amanda Lira are artists as well. So many Paul Rustan. So many people to check out. You know, that's great. You can check out hashtags, art, and music. You find a lot of people. So good night from New York, from Germany, from Louisiana. This was Hangout Conversations with Rodney Pike, Matt Rappaport, Moritz Tolxdorff. Have a pleasant tomorrow. And do your own on air. Check it out. If you have any questions, maybe we'll help you out. No, we will. Just kidding. Bye.